can't believe I still play Gear Chronicle, but this deck is far superior. That's where you're wrong, past me. Time Leap is more powerful than you can ever imagine. No, it's not! And I will show you why! My Blademaster Vision token has only drive checks, and with only stands left in my deck, you have no hope to survive. Vision token, attack and finish my future self! That's where you're wrong. Generation Guard, Interdimensional Dragon, Hatro Round Dragon! I spin your token to the past, but because it didn't came from the deck, it's get removed instead. And now, you're forced to call a stand trigger from your deck. Did you really think I didn't account for that trick? You're me, remember? And I know all your moves. And also, that was your last heal trigger, which means you have no way to stop my Vanguard attack. Blademaster, attack and end this fight! Not so fast. I bind my 4 rear guards and forcefully open the generation zone. What? Come forth, Bearlock, and wake this fool up from his delusional dream. Superior Generation Guard! How can this be? This card doesn't even exist! Is that what you thought I would react? This card only raised your power to 28,000, and thanks to your trick, my Blademaster gains an additional 10,000 power, raising its power up to 33,000. It's not enough. Oh, but you're forgetting Bearlock's special ability. He gains an additional 5,000 shield for every card I bound to superior column. And because I use 4 rear guards, he gains an additional 20,000 shield, raising my power up to 48,000. And because you only use 5,000 stand triggers, means you can't hit my Vanguard, thus ending your turn. You might have survived this turn, but with only 2 cards left in your hand, what possibly can you do? Everything! Final turn! Draw! Break through the limits and design the future you desire! Strike the generation! Interdimensional Dragon! Gear Groovy! Call Steammate and Melon, call TikTok Worker, Groovy Skill. I flip open in the next stage in my G-Zone to give my Vanguard an additional 5,000 power. And now I copy that next stage as well as History Build Dragon Skill from my G-Zone. Melon attack, boosted with TikTok Worker. Venom Skill activates, she gains an additional 4,000 power. And because 2 History Build Dragons are face up in my G-Zone, all my units with the Time Leap ability gains an additional 6,000 power. Thus, Melon attacks for 42,000! No guard! TikTok Worker skill activate, Time Leap Melon into History Maker Dragon, and Melon calls Uratar. History Maker Dragon, attack for 15,000. On attack, I activate his skill to Time Leap Uratar into a new Melon. Uratar skill, I draw 2 cards and send 1 card back to the deck. No guard! Melon attack for 41,000. No guard! No defensive at all. Melon once again calls another Uratar. Now my Vanguard, Gear Groovy, attack his Vanguard for 39,000. Activating History Build skill, flipping another History Build in my G-Zone, thus raising the power of all my Time Leap units with an additional 3,000 power, making my Vanguard 42,000. And I Time Leap both Uratar and History Maker into a new Melon and a Chrono Jet Dragon G. Perfect guard! First check. Second check, heal trigger, all effects to Chrono Jet Dragon G. Third check, nothing. Is that all you've got? We're not done just yet! Next stage skill activates. By discarding 3 cards from my hand, I can send next stage back to the G-Zone and reset my Vanguard. Now Melon, attack once again for 31,000. Guard! Chrono Jet Dragon, attack his Vanguard. His skill activates, he gains an additional 5,000 power with Sentinel Guard Restrict, raising its power to 18,000. Guard, no pass. First check, critical trigger, all effects to Chrono Jet Dragon G. Second check, critical trigger, all effects to Chrono Jet Dragon G. Chrono Jet Dragon G, attack, and because Chrono Jet Dragon G has the Time Leap ability, he gains an additional 9,000 power. Chrono Jet Dragon G, attack for 50,000 and triple crit! Time to end this pathetic dream of yours. Perfect guard! It's over. With only 2 critical triggers left in your hand, there's no way for you to survive my onslaught. Who said it was over? What? There's nothing else you can do. Haven't you noticed? The last Melon didn't call Uratar, but a TikTok Worker. No. And now this TikTok Worker will finish this fight. TikTok Worker, Time Leap Chrono Dragon G into Chrono Dragon next stage. Next stage, attack for 35,000 and end this fight. No! How did you beat me? Everybody knows that stand loops are the best deck in the format. Time Leap is just a tier 3 deck. That's where you're wrong. In my time, they are tier 1 and stand loops and Murakumo don't even exist anymore. So if I were you, I would get those time loop cards as soon as possible once the meta shifts. But how? All these cards are too expensive or nowhere to be found. Oh, no problem. I can fix that. What? All these cards are now so cheap and in an abundance. How did you do that? I mean, yeah, I get time travel, but what did you do? Let's say I just gave Bushiroad some advice to print certain cards. Awesome! But wait, if you me from the future, does that mean if I do something different, does it also affect you? Like, for example, shaving my beard? Of course not. You will create an alternate timeline the moment you do something like that. Huh. That's weird. But for our safety's sake, don't do anything else. Like shaving our head? No.
Ladies and gentlemen, card fighters all around the world, I, Mr. Time Leap, have the honor to reveal the brand new Gear Chronicle reprints for the upcoming Revival Selection set for Premium for the English format. And these reprints truly are symbolic as they do the name Mr. Time Leap justice, as these are the Gear Chronicle reprints for the Revival Selection set. And I honestly couldn't ask for any better reprints to be introduced for Gear Chronicle for newer players to finally be able to give the Time Leap deck for a spin. Now, we already knew about the Gear Groovy reprint as well as the import of Bear Lock, but the rest of the reprints are also pretty nice. But let's take a look at every single reprint in detail and see how important they actually are. Now, for Gear Groovy, I probably don't have to explain why this card is so important. It's the go-to stride that we currently have access to, as it allows us to copy our next stage, our Ragnarok Clock Dragons, as well as the brand new strides that we got for the Premium Collection 2019 as well as 2020 with Time Build Dragon as well as Croc Rock Dragon. So this card is becoming more and more powerful as more strides are being revealed for Gear Chronicle. So having this card more accessible to us is very important. Now, Bearlock, as you might have noticed from the intro cinematic, is a very versatile G-Guard that allows us to G-Guard in a pinch situation where we shouldn't be able to G-Guard in the first place. And with the way to generate even more shield could help us in those dire straits to survive till next turn to potentially kill our opponent, as what we just saw with only 2 cards in hand. A Time Leap deck can dish out a lot of pain. Now, as for the first new reprint that we see today, we see Interdimensional Dragon, Hater Around Dragon. And this G-Guard is probably on par or in the running with the Nile Griffin to be the strongest G-Guard ever be printed in Vanguard. And now getting another easy access to this card is very nice, because if you're gonna play the Chronojet build and you're gonna play Time Leap, you want to have at least 1 and maybe 2 copies of this card to save you in any type of scenarios, as this can be the perfect counter to any loop strategy, to any combo strategy, or just want to block against a gigantic power column, maybe against a Castile deck, because it can block anything. Now, if we go to the non-G-Zone cards, we see a very interesting, peculiar choice, as we also see the reprint of Chronojet Dragon G. Now, we have seen other grade 3s being reprinted for other clans that aren't really that important in the current day and age, but are very nostalgic type cards that are very prevalent for the respective clan. But in Chronojet Dragon G's case, it is actually a useful card for the current Time Leap build, as we again saw in the intro cinematic. As this card can be a backup grade 3 right target, as it can be a massive beater during a Gear Groovy turn because you have an entire G-Zone flipped open, and on top of it, it has a Time Leap stride skill, so it can help us to set up our board if we miss the correct pieces. But probably the more important aspect about this card is that it has the Time Leap keyword, meaning if you can Time Leap into this, it is actually a very powerful beater with History Build Dragon, giving it some extra power, thus leaving your final attacks even more powerful than your first couple of attacks. And with enough ways to get this card onto the board with either Time Leap in grade 2 or maybe Time Leap in Chrono Dran, the old starter, we can tutor this out and get easy access to it, thus being able to use it as a one-off tech choice in particular Time Leap builds if you want to go for this strategy. So even though it might look like a weird reprint, it is actually a very useful card for the Time Leap build. Now, followed up, we see the reprint of History Maker Dragon, and History Maker Dragon is probably one of the most important cards here, as it was part of the original Elite Four. For obvious reason, it's the most easy way to time leap our board, thus enabling multi-tags, which is very important for all our combos, as it allows us to time leap our Urotars, it allows us to get more value of our Melems, as well as enabling Chronodren and all other types of potential combo strategies. And it was originally a trial card, making it a little bit hard to get in the current day and age, thus finally getting its first reprint in this set is a warm welcome, as it was probably one of the hardest cards to get, as usually isn't available to most players. Now, another participant of the Elite Four being reprinted is of course the Grade Zero TikTok worker, and as we seen again in the opening cinematic, this card can put in a lot of work. Being able to time leap mid combo for free is huge, allowing you to do all kinds of shenanigans battle after battle and enabling even more attacks that you should actually get access to. And on top of the fact that it goes to the soul is actually really good, because most of the strides within Gear Chronicle and even our G-Guard Hater Around Dragon use the soul. So that soul that we generate with TikTok Worker can immediately be used for other very powerful effects. So while you're multi-attacking, while you're advancing your game plan, even at the same time are setting up for other powerful effects that can accelerate your game plan even further. So TikTok Worker is a pivotal part of the Elite Four and most of your time leap strategies, so finally having a reprint of this card is also very nice. And then the final card that is being reprinted, it is our trusty stand trigger, Steam Battler Orotar, and this is another one of those Elite Four cards that is very pivotal to the strategy. This is the card that you usually are going to call out with your Melem, as you can then immediately time leap it into another Melem, but more importantly, this card allows us to draw 2 cards and shuffle back a card from our hand into the deck. This in the past was great to put triggers back into the deck if you want to put heals or crits back, but you can also put back targets for your time leap combos, because if you draw into them, you cannot time leap into them, you rather want to have those cards in your deck, and with this card you can put those cards back into your deck while still drawing more cards in the process. But in the Overdress era, this card has become even more powerful, because now you can shuffle back your over trigger turn after turn after turn. So you can almost guarantee that you're going to drive check it or damage check it, because even though you might draw it in the early game, you can shuffle it back into the deck while you're multi-attacking and while you're comboing against your opponent, which is huge! So overall, these reprints are pretty insane, because 3 of the 4 Elite Four cards are being reprinted, as well as the most important stride that puts everything together, as well as 2 very important G-Guards. The only thing that we're now missing is a reprint of Steam Made Melem to complete the entire package, but who knows? Maybe there's something else for us in the future that changes everything. I want to give a huge shout out to Bushrod for allowing me to reveal these cards on the channel as a world premiere. It's been an honor to once again reveal more Gear Chronicle cards on the channel, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for us as a community, as well as potential collabs in the future. But with that said, I've been Mr. Time Leap, and this was Time Leap, and I'll see you guys in the next one!